Before I get into the next story, I just want to bring something up. If you hit thumbs down on my video, it's only gonna make this news not appear to people as much as if you hit the thumbs up. Hitting thumbs down on a story you don't like doesn't hurt the developers or the people making the decisions in the story. It just affects me negatively. And when I read the title of the next story, you'll figure out why I had to give you this little pre-warning, but please hit the thumbs up, even if you don't like it, so that way the news gets out there to other people. GTA 6 could cost as much as $100, some hope. Analyst clarifies comments. If Take-Two raises prices to $80 or more, other publishers could apparently follow suit. Veteran investment analyst and researcher Matthew Bale of Epsilon has released a gargantuan 219-page report about the state of video gaming in 2025, and some of the presentation looks at how the video game industry could possibly grow in 2025. In a section called How Player Playtime and Player Spend Might Return to Growth, Bale mentioned a variety of opportunities, including Grand Theft Auto 6 costing as much as $100 when it launches this year. Bell said there is hope among some in the market that Take-Two will price GTA 6 at $80 or even $100, which could prove to be a turning point for the video game industry. This could break a key price barrier and allow other developers to raise prices as well. He said before this, a Baldur's Gate 3 developer said GTA 6 could prompt a shift to more expensive games if Take-Two decides to price it above $70. In a series of follow-up posts, Bale shared a further key update, including how GTA 4 was priced at $90 in real terms, with GTA 5 costing $83. Bale added, "Your rent is up, movie tickets have doubled, minimum wage, Spotify, Netflix, bus fare, gas, etc. Indeed, nearly all of the categories are up, not just flat in real terms, while games are at record low." He went on to say Rockstar's isn't sufficient to set the price, but the argument games should be the only thing to never adjust for inflation and thus be, in the strictest terms, worth less every year is not healthy either, or a good argument, in my opinion. I think his name is Ball. Yeah, Ball was not making a prediction himself that GTA 6 would cost as much as $100, only that there is the belief in the market by some that it could happen. For his money, Ball said he predicts GTA 6 will cost $70. $70 is the current market rate for new AAA releases, and in fact, it was Take-Two that was among the first to raise prices from $60 to $70 back in 2020. Many are naturally wondering if Take-Two might raise prices again for GTA 6's launch, but it remains to be seen if that will happen. Beyond updating the sticker price for games, video game publishers have found other ways to get more money out of players, including expensive special editions, microtransactions, and battle passes, just to name a few. GTA 5, for example, has sold more than 205 million copies and brings in lots of money from the microtransactions in GTA Online. Early predictions have said that GTA 6 could sell 40 million copies and earn more than $3 billion in revenue during the first year alone. Ball said GTA 6's launch this year will have a mixed impact on total player hours and revenue across the gaming industry because it'll only be available on console. PC release is expected after the console launch. However, Ball said GTA 6 will severely cannibalize total hours and spending that would go to other video games when it launches. For its part, Ubisoft has said GTA 6 is good for the video game industry overall because a huge game like that may help more people turn to gaming. Some of the other areas that Ball listed off as having potential for growth in 2025 included the further expansion into non-core markets, user-generated content, social game services like Nintendo Switch 2, other new handhelds and devices, AA and AAA mobile gaming, App Store regulation, new game genres, generative AI, and advertising. For the Switch 2, Ball said Nintendo's own games dominate the Switch sales charts because many popular multi-platform games isn't available on the console. When popular multi-platform games do come to Switch, they often have an enormous performance drop, which could push players to buy a game on a different device instead. Ball said with the Switch 2, though, the leaked specs suggest the console will be able to adequately support most modern games, he said. In terms of the issues the video game industry faces, Ball said there are numerous contributing factors, including an exhaustion of decade-plus growth drivers, as well as competitive and budgetary escalations. Ball added that acute macroeconomic financial events and epidemics negatively affected the video game business, as well as microeconomic platform policy shifts. A number of would-be growth drivers have also failed to materialize, he said. The full report is a fascinating and in-depth look at the video game industry that is well worth a read. So let's look at comments before I give mine. Uh, so, Linton goes, or I can wait for it to drop in price, and by then they should have most of the bugs worked out. Yumi goes in response, that is what I do. The last raise in price and growing up made me realize that waiting a year or so for a game to get a price, nice 50% off or something sale is worth it. Smart, really. Only a rare few can get around that. And Action 6 goes, so let me see if I can get a handle on what this brilliant analyst is telling us. Number one, raise AAA prices to $70 while promising more immersive, more stable, and more creative experiences. Number two, make repetitive, derivative, subpar garbage games filled with ideological nonsense and written by idiot children in adult bodies. Number three, don't pay these idiot children or anyone else on staff enough money to raise a family, buy a house, or do anything other than subsist on city living prices. Number four, go out of your way to chase fads and attach abusive business practices to every single game, like microtransactions, pre-order promises that you know won't turn out as planned, and games as a service. Number five, watch the AAA industry crash, talented employees quit, and untalented employees get fired off by the thousands, while indies titles made by dedicated groups with less members than a volleyball team take in millions by producing light, thoughtful experiences that respect the players. Number six, blame low pricing for the problem in the AAA industry. That about right? Yes, yes, that's what it is. What he was suggesting. Listen, we hear this all the time over the last couple of years, especially about games cost so much more to make. Well, gee, when you get a budget to make a game, here's an idea. Why don't you make sure the money in the budget is being spent efficiently? I mean, let's look at Concord. What was it, a $400 million budget, almost double what Grand Theft Auto 5's budget was, and it was a failure? Like I said, what did they spend the money on? Drugs and women? Because it sure didn't go towards the development of the game. No, games cost more if you're not spending the money that's made to develop the game in an efficient way. Maybe cut out wasteful spending. And like I said, if it's really that you can't spend, if it's really just there's no way to get around it, even if you efficiently use the budget for a game that's still too much, make smaller games. If split up the Grand Theft, let's take Grand Theft Auto 5 since that's what you see. If you can't make a game that long, you could always split the story in two and add the second part as DLC. Or you could they added more stories to GTA Online, or more experiences, I should say, to be more exact, and people were still paying for that. But when you got games like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, burning everyone who bought it, whether they bought the base game or the deluxe edition, when you got games like Concord that basically that lasted what, a month before being taken offline. Yeah, no one wants to spend 70, 80, $90 on these games because you're not putting the work in to make sure that we get a meaningful experience. The reason $60 works so well is because until recently, and I think during the PS1, PS2, PS3, Xbox 360 era, sure, we got garbage games, but it was overshadowed by the amount of great games that we got. I mean, I just want to jump out of my skin when I hear this argument by people who saying that, oh, prices need to go up and games need to cost $100. Well, if you were using your budget efficiently, um, and if you maybe made smaller games and then just added the rest of the game as a DLC and it worked, and the game didn't need a day one 90 gigabyte update to work, maybe people would be more open to spending 70, $80 on games, maybe. But the thing is, you're charging more for games, and we're getting less in quality. No one wants a crap to pay more for crappy quality. So yes, cut out the ideology bullshit in all games. And when a budget is approved for a video game, make sure that budget's being spent efficiently. There's no reason Concord should have turned out the way it did and lose $200 million. And you're telling me, well, games need to cost $100? No, you need to basically make a game that people want to play. Make sure it's works before it's released. Not say, oh, we'll have a day one update that you need to take 6 hours to download before you can play the game. No, make sure that bug is fixed before you release the game. Have people who made the game actually play it. They don't have to play the entire game, but they could at least play and make sure the first hour or two has no problems. So I mean, yeah, it it's greed. It is because, like I said, this if anything else, you could at least make the story shorter, or at least sell off the next chapter in the story as DLC. And if the game worked and DLC worked, and we didn't have these ridiculous problems on games that don't work when we paid 60, 70, $80 for them, this problem wouldn't exist. And like I said, even more people would be open to, like, okay, maybe a big game like Grand Theft Auto 5 or Red Dead 2 costing $70, $80. I know those games are out, but I'm just saying, since those are two of the biggest games um, in terms of story that I can think of, maybe people would be more open to spending a little bit more extra. And then you could add the GTA Online mode, since a lot of people seem to like that. But we don't need Grand Theft Auto 6 to cost $100 for the base game. That is ridiculous.